It started hours before the slap. My father cornered me near the wedding cake, voice calm but commanding. "About your apartment," he began, pretending it was casual. I already knew where this was going. They'd been hinting for weeks. Subtle comments about family helping family. My mother joined, eyes bright with expectation. "Your sister needs a real home to start her marriage." Real home. As if mine was unreal because I lived alone. As if my worth depended on sharing it. I held my glass steady and waited for the familiar guilt. It didn't come this time. I was too tired to pretend. "That penthouse is mine," I said quietly. "I worked for it, I earned it." My mother laughed, brittle and sharp. "We supported you through school." "You paid one semester," I replied. "I worked nights and took loans for the rest." Her smile faded. My father frowned, unused to defiance. He spoke slowly, as if explaining kindness. "Your sister struggles, Anna. You've always been the strong one." Strong doesn't mean limitless. But they never understood limits unless they were theirs. I remembered my graduation, the empty seats they left for her anxiety attack. The first case I won, celebrating alone while they comforted her breakdown. The day I bought my apartment, no congratulations, only silence. She always needed more, and they always gave it. My time, my money, my peace. "You can help her," my father pressed. "It's only fair." Fair? That word always meant sacrifice, mine. I felt the air tighten around us. Guests laughed nearby, unaware this was the real performance. "This discussion is over," I said, setting my glass down. My mother blinked like she'd heard wrong. My father's jaw hardened. Then came the sound of her heels, quick and furious. My sister swept toward us in her gown, eyes already red. "They told you?" she asked breathlessly. Her husband hovered behind her, pretending concern. "I knew you, understand. We can't afford the market right now." I looked at her. Perfect makeup, perfect dress, and the same desperate entitlement. "No," I said simply. She stared, as if the word had never been spoken to her. "But we need it," she whispered. "Then buy what you can afford." The words fell heavy, sharp enough to draw blood. Her expression twisted. A child denied her toy. "You're selfish." The orchestra faltered. Cameras lifted like fireflies. And then her hand flew. The sound cracked through the room. I didn't move. Didn't cry. I only touched my cheek and breathed. Because this wasn't just one slap. It was every small betrayal condensed into a single strike. And for the first time in my life, I didn't yield. I stood tall, steady, unflinching. Let them record it. Let them see. The strong one had finally stopped being silent. The ballroom air felt heavier after the slap. Music stopped, then stuttered back like a dying heartbeat. People whispered, but no one came closer. I turned away, my face calm, my pulse steady. Years in litigation had taught me composure under fire. This was just another kind of courtroom. I walked out through the gold doors into silence. The hallway smelled of flowers and polished marble. My cheek still burned, but it was the insult that cut deeper. I pulled out my phone, opened a secure app. "Physical assault," I typed. "Attempted coercion, witnesses present." Documentation was my weapon. I had no intention of shouting. Paper and evidence would speak louder than rage ever could. The screen glowed faintly as I hit send. Within seconds, messages arrived from colleagues. "Stay calm, will advise, preserve evidence." Their support steadied me more than any apology ever could. The sound of heels approached. It was Judge Hawkins, an old mentor. He handed me a glass of water without a word. "I saw everything," he said finally. "That was assault. Don't let them twist it." I nodded. He understood boundaries better than my family ever did. A second voice followed, sharp, curious. "A journalist from the Tribune. notebook ready. "This isn't right," she murmured. "Families don't do this unless there's history." History. The word stung because it was true. Years of emotional blackmail disguised as love. Endless demands hidden behind tears. I smiled politely. "No comment," I said, and she slipped me her card anyway. "Some stories deserve sunlight," she whispered. My father's voice broke the quiet. He stormed out of the ballroom, face red with fury. "You humiliated your sister," he barked. "You're ruining her wedding." I didn't flinch. "She ruined it when she hit me." Behind him, my mother appeared, her social smile trembling. "Darling, give her the apartment or don't come home for Christmas." Threats disguised as tradition. It had always been that way. My phone buzzed again. Messages from guests, witnesses, recordings of the slap already online. The internet had its own kind of justice now. "I'll remember this," I told them quietly. "All of you." My voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. I turned and walked away, heels echoing against the marble floor. Each step felt like a verdict. Each click a closing statement. They thought silence meant surrender. They didn't know silence could also be strategy. As the elevator doors closed, I caught my reflection. The mark on my cheek was fatting. But something else had changed forever. For the first time, I wasn't the daughter trying to earn love. I was the woman who knew her worth and had finally decided to defend it. The morning after felt unreal. Sunlight spilled across my apartment like a quiet witness. My phone wouldn't stop vibrating. The video had gone viral overnight. 1,000 strangers now knew my name. And my sister's handprint had become a symbol. The clip replayed everywhere: news feeds, forums, gossip pages. Her shrill voice echoed through the speakers. "Give me your keys, it's my right." Each replay carved the truth deeper into the world. People were outraged. They saw what I had endured in seconds. Messages flooded in from colleagues and former clients. "You handled it with grace. I'd want you as my lawyer." Justice for me had found its audience. But fame wasn't comfort. It was exposure. The comments section became its own courtroom. Some defended her, blaming me for being too cold. Others called it what it was: abuse disguised as family loyalty. I turned off notifications, but the noise kept rising. By noon, a reporter called asking for a statement. I said nothing. Silence was still my defense. By evening, the firm's partners reached out. "We're behind you," they said. Clients requested me personally, citing my integrity. Irony, I thought. A public slap had turned into a professional promotion. Across town, my sister's world began to crumble. Her firm placed her on administrative leave. Her husband's brokerage announced an ethics review. The internet doesn't forgive entitlement. And the truth doesn't need revenge, it has memory. My parents sent an email, as formal as a legal notice. "Your behavior damaged this family's reputation. You must issue a public apology." I almost laughed. For years, I had carried their image on my shoulders. Now they feared losing the social mask I never wore. I closed the laptop. Outside, sirens wailed softly through the city. Inside, peace took its first cautious breath. I made tea, watched the skyline, let the chaos burn itself out. Power, I realized, wasn't in winning arguments. It was in not explaining yourself to those who never listened. My voicemail blinked, her voice again. "How could you embarrass me? You ruined my day." Delete. The next message came from a judge. "I saw the video. If you ever need testimony, you have mine." That meant more than applause ever could. By nightfall, the hashtag Justice for Anna trended citywide. It was strange, being defended by strangers. But maybe that's what truth does. It finds its own allies. I looked at my reflection in the window. Calm, determined, unapologetic. The mark on my face was gone, but the lesson stayed. Sometimes a single slap can end a lifetime of silence. And sometimes the world finally listens when you stop asking it to. They tried to reach me again. Calls, emails, messages through relatives I barely remembered. My mother's voice trembled on voicemail. "Let's not drag this out, darling. We're still family." Still family. Those two words had always been their favorite weapon. They meant silence. They meant obedience. I didn't reply. For years, I had bent until I almost broke. This time, I stayed still. Control felt strange at first, quiet, heavy, powerful. I started sleeping again. My apartment didn't feel like a trophy anymore. It felt like a home. The city below moved on, but my phone kept lighting up. Strangers wrote thank you messages. "You helped me say no to my mother. You showed me boundaries can exist." Every story reminded me why I couldn't go back. My sister's friends unfollowed her one by one. Her perfect image cracked in public view. Yet she still texted late at night. "Please, can we talk?" There was no apology, only panic. She missed the comfort of my yes. I typed slowly, deliberately. "I wish you well, but my answer hasn't changed." Then I blocked her number. My father sent a letter next, formal and cold. He spoke of duty, heritage, and family reputation. Not once did he mention love. He never knew how. At work, life bloomed in quiet symmetry. I took new cases, mentored young attorneys, rebuilt my calm. Every decision became proof that peace wasn't weakness. It was strength learned through exhaustion. Some nights, guilt crept in like fog. Was I cruel for walking away? Then I'd remember the slap, the silence, the years before it. Choosing myself wasn't cruelty, it was survival. A colleague invited me to speak at a women's law conference. Topic: professional boundaries in personal conflict. I said yes. For the first time, yes was for me. The audience would expect empowerment, but I planned honesty. That boundaries aren't loud. They don't shout. They simply hold. One evening, my mother appeared at my door unannounced. Her eyes were swollen, her tone rehearsed. "Your sister isn't well. She needs you." "She needed me for 30 years, I said softly. "And I was always there, not anymore." She hesitated, searching for guilt in my face. She didn't find it. I closed the door gently, not angrily. Peace doesn't slam, it settles. Inside, I made coffee and opened my laptop. A new email arrived from a law student. She wrote, "I want to be like you one day, unafraid." I smiled. Fear had built my strength, but truth had kept it. Outside, the city lights shimmered like quiet applause. I realized then I wasn't fighting them anymore. I was simply living without permission. And that finally felt like freedom. They asked to meet one last time. A private dinner, they said, to resolve things quietly. I almost refused, but curiosity won. People reveal themselves when they think you're cornered. The restaurant was elegant, cold, familiar. The same place where they once celebrated my first big case. Now it felt like a negotiation table. My mother led the way, pearls gleaming under soft lights. My father followed, wearing authority like armor. My sister sat across from me, mascara perfect but eyes hollow. Her husband fidgeted beside her, clutching a leather folder. "We all just want peace," my father began. He always used peace when he meant compliance. I didn't speak. My mother smiled too widely. "We've spoken to a lawyer," she said. "He drafted a fair compromise." The folder slid across the table. Inside was a transfer agreement, my apartment in her name. I looked up slowly. "A compromise," I repeated. "Yes," my father said. "It's best for everyone." Everyone but me. I set the folder aside, untouched. Then I opened my own briefcase. "Before we continue," I said softly, "you should see this." Witness statements, building security reports, screenshots of messages, threats, emotional manipulation. Their smiles faltered. The silence stretched thin. My sister's voice trembled. You went to the police. I went to the truth, I said. My father's face reddened. You would destroy your family over pride. You destroyed it over entitlement. My words landed like verdicts. My mother's hand shook as she reached for her glass. Her perfect social mask cracked. The truth had never been welcome at her table. Grandmother's voice broke the tension. She had come to, quiet and deliberate. She's not destroying anything, she said. She's freeing herself from a lie. My sister's tears came too late. You're supposed to help us, she whispered. I did, I replied. For years, until help became servitude. My father slammed his hand on the table. You're ungrateful. No, I said, I'm done. The words felt clean. Final. I gathered my files, my calm intact. Behind me, their voices blurred into static. Grandmother's cane tapped once, like a gavel. You did well, child, she said. Some bridges need burning so better ones can be built. Outside, the air was crisp, almost forgiving. I walked without looking back. The city lights shimmered like witnesses. I thought of all the times I'd chosen silence. All the times I'd traded peace for belonging. That debt was paid tonight. I wasn't leaving them in anger. I was leaving them in truth. And sometimes, truth is the only inheritance worth keeping. Spring came quietly that year. The city thawed, and so did I. My apartment no longer felt like a fortress. It felt alive, warm, completely mine. I replaced every trace of them. Pastel curtains gone, soft beige walls painted clean. The space, finally, reflected the woman who lived here. Not the daughter they molded. Not the sister they consumed. Just me. Work flourished in unexpected ways. Referrals poured in from judges, clients, even journalists. They didn't mention the slap anymore. They mentioned resilience. Integrity. My name had become a synonym for both. At the firm, partners offered promotions. I accepted, not out of ambition but stability. Power didn't excite me anymore. Peace did. I started a scholarship for women in law. Those fighting quiet wars between family duty and independence. Every application carried a story I understood. One wrote, "My father says success makes women lonely." I replied, "It makes us free." That became the scholarship's motto. Grandmother attended the launch ceremony. Her cane tapped steady pride into the marble floor. She whispered, "You've ended a cycle." I believed her. News of my family trickled in like distant weather reports. My sister's marriage collapsed under its own deceit. My parents downsized after debts swallowed their comfort. None of it pleased me. It simply balanced. Life doesn't punish, it corrects. One evening, I stood on my balcony, city lights beneath my feet. My phone buzzed again with my mother's number. I let it ring out. Voicemails filled with guilt, nostalgia, revisionist history. But guilt no longer had roots here. This was sacred ground. I brewed tea, played music, opened my laptop. A young associate asked for advice. "How do you handle betrayal?" she wrote. "By documenting it," I replied, then moving on. Simple, effective, true. Later that night, I drafted my speech for the Ethics Award. It wasn't about winning or revenge. It was about boundaries. How saying no had saved me more than any yes ever could. How silence, once a prison, became protection. When the ceremony arrived, I stood beneath the lights. Applause swelled like an ocean. But I thought of the girl I used to be. The one who worked for approval that never came. She deserved this peace more than anyone. Afterward, friends gathered in my apartment. Laughter replaced the echo of old arguments. The walls felt lighter, almost grateful. Grandmother raised her glass. To truth, she said. I smiled, because truth had cost me everything once, and given me more than I ever imagined. Later, when everyone left, I looked at the city again. Its glow mirrored my own reflection. This wasn't isolation. This was sovereignty. And I had finally come home. Night settled softly over the city. The skyline shimmered like quiet proof that healing can glow. I sat by the window, tea cooling in my hand. My mother's latest message blinked unanswered on the screen. Guilt still tried to find its way in, but the door stayed locked. Peace had boundaries now. My sister's name appeared in the news again, chasing sympathy. But the world had moved on. So had I. The apartment hummed with silence, but it wasn't empty. It was full of presents, mine. I opened the speech draft for tomorrow's conference. Family isn't who claims you, I wrote. It's who respects you. Outside, spring lights flickered across the lake. Somewhere, someone was still learning to say no. I hoped they would learn it faster than I did. I closed my laptop and breathed. The air was light, unburdened, real. This wasn't the ending they expected for me. It was the one I built, word by word, boundary by boundary. Freedom didn't arrive with applause. It arrived with silence and the strength to keep it.